Hello, hello, hello. We are back in the garden and we're doing our very last video to do with the whole pests and how we're dealing with all these pests. So we've already talked about soapy water sprays, okay? What I would say, a bit of a prerequisite, if you haven't already watched that video, hit pause. I'll put a link up here to the video, so go back and watch that video because there's a lot of real basic information in there that's good to know before we start mucking about with the neem oil. So I'll run the intro and you can go and watch that one just now and then come back. So the cool thing about this is it will defeat the creepy, crawly, chewing insects, so things like your beetles, earwigs, caterpillars, all that kind of stuff. You can pour it onto the soil as a soil drench and it'll get to things like the fungus gnats that are in the soil. And also, neem oil has antibacterial and antifungal properties. So if you spray this on your leaves, you can use this to combat powdery mildew. So how fantastic is that? An all-round good guy. So yes, so we talked about soapy water sprays. We're going to need this, but not for the way you think. Today we're also going to talk about this, which is neem oil, okay? And I will explain why I've got it in this bowl of water. But basically, we spoke about the soapy sprays and how you can use them by spraying them onto your plants when they've got aphids and things on the plants, and you can spray it on the little insects and it'll kill the insects, the little soft-bodied insects. What it doesn't do is it doesn't combat things like beetles and earwigs and caterpillars and all those things that actually chew your leaves on the plant. And that's why we're going to talk about the neem oil today, because that's what this deals with. Now, how it deals with things is slightly different, and how you use it, or at least how you make up the solutions and what they do, is a bit different. So we're going to talk about that, okay? And what you will need is your water, and as usual I do everything in a 1 litre batch, and you will see in a second why I've got it in this bottle and not in a spray can. You'll need a little bit of your soap. Now, if you've watched the previous video, you know when I say soap, I don't mean washing up liquid, I mean actual real soap. And your neem oil. And I want to talk about the neem oil first, because you get different types of product that say neem oil, and you have to have the right one. Some of these are just absolute rubbish and will not work. So firstly, it needs to be actually neem oil and not a neem oil extract, because it's not the same thing. When they do the extracts, a lot of those have actually got the main ingredient you need has been taken out. And if it doesn't have that in it, then there's no point in you using it on the plants, okay? You may wonder why they do that, but neem oil gets used for a lot of different things, not just for what we're going to do. So sometimes that product's actually fine for what it's being used for. The other thing is there are 3 ways that this oil is produced, okay? And that is cold pressed, or pressed where heat is used to help get the oil out, or sometimes it's actually done with some alcohol to help get the oil out of the fruits and the stones and things. What we want, always check the label, we want the one that is cold pressed, okay? The reason being, the active ingredient, the compound if you like in here, hello, I've got to share my seat. What we've got, the active ingredient that's in here is called azadirachtin, and it actually disperses over time and heat speeds that up. So if you have something that's been pressed using heat, you start losing the azadirachtin. If you've used the solvents to do it, the alcohol, again, it harms that compound and you get less of it. And cold pressed is the way that keeps the most of it in. But also check your label and make sure your neem oil has a decent quantity of this azadirachtin in it, because you need that. And you do actually buy some out there that just don't have it, and it's pointless, okay? So that's me lectured you on buying the right one. Now, why is it in this bowl of water? Basically, this is a kind of an oil, or is it I won't get the chemistry bit right on this. It's an oil or it's maybe a fat, but whatever it is, it solidifies if it's cold. So even cold room temperature in Scotland just now, you can see if I put this here, we're doing the GoPro trick again. You can see where I've had it sitting in the warm water, it's gone back to oil. It was before full of all these it was full of all these solids, okay? Now, a lot of people panic when they see that and they think they've bought a poor product, and sometimes they bin it. Actually, that's a sign that you've got the good stuff, the right stuff. You want that to happen. And all you do is you just put it in a wee bowl of warm water for a few minutes, and it'll help get that to go back to being an oil consistency. And that's it, okay? So, basically, how does this work then? Why is it different from the soapy sprays, Eli? Well, it's different because of this. Do you mind? Are you seeing this cat? You know they can't see you on camera when you're behind the cushion. You don't get likes that way.
Parker, come here.
Okay, shall I move this? Is it annoying you? Right, here, look, you can have your own chair. Look, go and sit there. Okay, so back to the neem oil. Right, so how this works is you can use it in some different ways, but basically you can spray it onto your plants. So you spray it onto the leaves, or how I'm going to do it, I'm going to spray it onto the peppers in the greenhouse. And that, number one, I'm going to warn you, it's quite a strong smell, so that can deter things from wanting to chew your plants. Also, once it's on there, if something does chew any of your plants, it actually causes a hormone imbalance to happen. And what that does is it stops the insects from mating, it stops them from eating, and it can actually impede growth as well. So over a period of time, this will actually kill off those insects. Differently though, it's slower than if you're using the soap spray. This is more of an instant hit. This takes a wee bit of time, so a few days. And you can either just use it once if you've got problems, so you make up a stronger solution, or you can use it as a maintenance way, and you can make up a weaker solution and you can keep applying it over time. So you can apply it every, say, 5 or 6 days and keep going that way. Okay, now what you can also do, and this is what I will be doing, in the house we have fungus gnats in our house plants, which are really, really annoying. Not all fungus gnats actually damage your plants, but the adults are really, really annoying, even if they don't damage the plants, because they fly all around the house. Little tiny black flies. The ones that can damage your plants is their larvae. Larvae? Is that right? Is it larva or larvae? Kate? Larva or larvae?
Larvae.
I was wrong first time, larvae. Those little larvae are in the soil and they actually eat the roots because they like to eat kind of rotten material. So you'll find them a lot if you use compost that has peat in it. They really like that. And once they run out of things to eat in the soil, they'll actually start eating the roots of your plants. So how we combat that then is we use this and we use it in a way that's called a soil drench, where basically we make up a really weak solution and we water it into the soil as well as spraying the plants. And what that does is, it's called a systematic insecticide. The plant actually soaks it up into its roots, and then anything that eats those roots gets affected, and also it'll then go up and through all the leaves and all that kind of thing. And we don't have a jet plane in the garden. Kate's killing the weeds, don't worry. You know she likes her weed burner. So yeah, so with all of that then, let's get on and we'll make some solution, because we do this in a slightly different way, and that's what I want to show you. So I said, depending on what you're using it for is the strength that you're going to need to use, okay? So for just now, I'm going to make this up in the full strength, which is what I'm going to use in the greenhouse for combating earwigs and that type of thing, okay? If I was doing this as something I would apply sort of more than once over time as a maintenance, or if I was doing it as a soil drench, I would make the much weaker solution. So for the stronger solution then, I've got my 1 litre of water, same as usual. I'm going to try and catch this on the GoPro for you because you need to see what's happening here. Okay. For this 1 litre, I'm going to add for a weaker solution, 1 teaspoon of neem oil. For a stronger solution, 2 teaspoons of neem oil, okay? So here we go. And we'll see just how much I've managed to get it to thin down again. So I'm going to show you this. I was saying how it solidifies, okay? So that is nothing to worry about. That's just because it's not very warm here. So, strong solution, I'm going to go with 2. And we can see there it's a nice golden thick oil. Try to do this with my left hand's hilarious because I'm right-handed. Note the concentration on the face. Right, I'll put that in there just for neatness. Are you quite happy? Have you waved to all your subscribers, Parker? Have you waved? Okay, now I want to show you this. What you can see here, okay, and I'll get the GoPro going as well, is all that oil obviously is sitting on the top of the water because it won't mix with the water. Oil and water don't naturally mix, okay? Now what I can do, I'm putting the lid up, notice I've got a screw cap this time. I'll give that a good shake and you'll see it will start to mix, but if we watch, it's all going up. You'll see there all the little particles of oil, so it's all been shaken up just now, but it's all separating out again and it is coming up until it's at the top of the bottle. You can see it there, so it's pretty much all floating at the top again. So that means if we were using this in a spray, it would be pretty much useless because either you would just get oil, which would be far too strong and you could damage your plants, or you would just get the water and you wouldn't get the actual neem oil, which is the bit you need. Okay, so what we do then is, this is why we use soap. We use the soap to act as an emulsifier, so you want that to then be in there so that it encourages the oil and the water to mix. Okay, now I'm going to send you over just now. When you finish watching this video, pop over to JB's video and I'll put a link up here. JB has been using neem oil for the last couple of weeks, I think, so he'll be able to show you the whole journey start to finish and what his successes have been and what the problems have been. And you'll also see then why you don't want to add neem oil to your normal solution of soap, because if you're adding your soap solution and on top of that you're adding the neem oil, it's just too much to be adding to your plant to stress it out, and you're more than likely going to cause it some harm. Okay, and I will let JB talk to you about all of this stuff. What we're doing is we're only adding enough to emulsify that and mix it, so just enough. So what you do basically is you just start with a small amount and we'll test it and see. So let's see. So I'm using my horticultural soap as usual. And I'm going to start with half a teaspoon. That's all. Just a tiny bit. And then we're going to give it a shake again and see what that does. And I'm going to put the right lid in the bottle. I know you're all just waiting for me to shake this and it goes everywhere, because that's what you lot are like. Like laughing when I make it the wrong way. So really good shake, and there we can see. So if you look at that, it is much, much more mixed in. Okay, it is still, however, you can see there, look, it's still separating out and it is coming to the top. Okay, now this will happen. It's a case of how long it takes for that to happen. We want this emulsifying to work long enough for this spray to be used in the garden where we're using it. Okay, it's not going to be permanent. You'll have to shake it up every time, but we're aiming for it to be take longer. I'd say longer than 30 seconds is ideal. Okay, so you can see there it's almost all gone. So I'm going to add another half a teaspoon. Oh, you're joining us now as well. We just got all the cats today. Okay, so another half teaspoon. And we will give this another shake. I almost forgot to put the lid on it. Oh, that would have been bad. Right. It's like I'm in a cocktail bar. Get a martini going. Oh no, martini you don't shake, do you? Okay, so here we go. So let's watch again. So I can see there, it's not too bad. It's actually quite well mixed there. It is separating a bit, but absolutely not as bad as last time. And we'll just watch for a bit. So like I said, you want it to be about 30 seconds or longer, because that's long enough for you actually to use this and spray your plants before you have to shake it again. I'm quite happy with that. I would be happy to go with that. Like I say, I wouldn't want to add too much soap. It'd be easier to just add a lot of soap in there. But we don't want that. We want as little soap as possible, because we don't want to stress our plants out if we don't need to. But there we go. So that is it. That is as simple as it for neem oil. So for me, my solution, a strong solution, I'm looking at 1 to 2 teaspoons of neem oil in 1 litre of water. And you can see there, that was probably, it's probably just under a teaspoon in reality, just. If I was going to be using this as some sort of maintenance spray, so using it more than once, or if I was using it as a soil drench, I would half the solution, so I'd only have the 1 teaspoon of neem oil in there. But there you go, that's it. This stuff's really not all that complicated. Once you know a little bit about it, that's the trick. But I'm leaving you with that for just now. But as always, please don't just follow instructions and recipes online without testing first. So make your spray up, and the same as we did with the soap spray, test it on a small area of a plant first and leave it for a few days just to check it's not going to burn or damage the plant. If it does, dilute your solution down, okay? Take responsibility for your own garden and just be careful. But the sun is coming out, it's starting to get lovely. I may go and start sorting out this front lawn. But yeah, so I will leave you with this. Next week we are going to do the garden update for the end of the month as usual, but with a difference. And we're going to have a bit of a theme for the garden update, and we're going to specifically be looking at the excitement of the courgettes and my experiment with the courgettes. And we're going to be in the greenhouse checking up on the new quad grow, and I'll give you my review of what I think of it and how it's going, and we'll check on all the tomatoes and things in the greenhouse. So that will be next week's video. If you've got anything you'd like me to talk about in next week's video, put a wee comment below or put a message in the community channel and let me know. And as always, if the cats would earn their living, I'd get them to do their bit. No? As always, if you liked this video, hit that like button to let me know this is the type of content you like. And remember, if you want to know when I post, you have to hit that little subscribe button and hit the little bell, because YouTube don't notify you about every single video unless you click that bell. So that is me then from the getting slightly sunnier and warmer garden out here in East Lothian. So neem oil and soap spray and pruning your plants for light in the air. Those are just some of the ways that we can combat the pests in our garden. See you guys.